If you've been gardening for a while, you already know composting is powerful, but also slow. Compost asks for patience, months of turning, waiting, hoping conditions are right, and sometimes, your plants need help now, not next season. That's where an ancient, almost forgotten approach steps in with quiet confidence. Korean natural farming, or KNF, isn't about replacing compost. It's about going beyond it, awakening soil life instantly, using biology instead of bulk, and working with nature rather than trying to manufacture fertility. Here on Soil Power we talk a lot about building living soil. KNF takes that philosophy to its logical extreme. It's not trendy, it's not flashy, and it doesn't rely on expensive inputs. It's ancient wisdom refined through observation, fermentation, and respect for microorganisms. Once you understand it, you'll never look at soil the same way again. Compost is organic matter. KNF is living biology. That difference matters more than most gardeners realize. Compost feeds soil over time as it breaks down. KNF delivers active microbes, enzymes, and nutrients in forms plants can use immediately. If you've ever had rich compost but still struggled with weak growth, nutrient lockout, or poor root development, the problem usually isn't nutrients, it's biology. Plants don't eat compost, microbes do. KNF focuses on feeding and multiplying those microbes so they can do their job right away. This is why KNF shines in tired soils, compacted beds, container gardens, raised beds, and even sandy or clay-heavy ground. Instead of waiting months for compost to mature, KNF jumpstarts the soil food web within days. KNF originated in Korea, refined by farmers who couldn't afford fertilizers and had to rely on what nature already provided. The core idea is simple but powerful. Local microorganisms are already perfectly adapted to your climate, your soil, and your plants. All you need to do is collect them, multiply them, and return them to the soil in a gentle, balanced way. This is not about forcing growth, it's about restoration. KNF doesn't overwhelm soil life, it amplifies it. Every preparation is designed to support microbial diversity, mineral balance, and plant resilience. That's why KNF feels different. Gardens managed with it don't just grow faster, they grow healthier, with deeper roots, thicker leaves, and better resistance to stress. At the center of KNF is IMO, Indigenous Microorganisms. These are wild native microbes collected from healthy natural environments like forests or undisturbed land. When introduced into your garden, they immediately recognize the ecosystem. There's no adjustment period. Once established, IMOs improve soil structure, break down organic matter, rapidly unlock minerals, and create stable humus far more efficiently than compost alone. They turn dead soil into a living system. Gardeners often notice improved soil smell, looser texture, and stronger root growth within weeks. That's not magic, it's microbial activity finally waking up. KNF relies heavily on fermentation, which is why results come fast. Fermentation pre-digests nutrients, making them biologically available instead of chemically bound. This means plants and microbes don't have to work as hard to access them. Inputs like plant extracts, fruit sugars, fish waste, and minerals are transformed into living solutions. When applied to soil or foliage, they don't sit idle, they get to work immediately. This is a key difference between KNF and compost teas that rely on aeration alone. Fermented KNF inputs are stable, shelf-ready, and incredibly concentrated. A small amount goes a long way. KNF may sound complex at first, but in practice it's beautifully modular. You don't need everything to see results. Even one or two inputs can transform your soil. Fermented Plant Juice, or FPJ, captures growth hormones and enzymes from fast-growing local plants. When applied during vegetative growth, it encourages lush, balanced development without forcing weak tissue. Fermented Fruit Juice, or FFJ, supports flowering and fruiting by supplying sugars and reproductive energy. Plants, respond with improved blooms, better fruit set, and honestly, richer flavor. Fish Amino Acid, or FAA, delivers nitrogen in a gentle, microbe-friendly form. Unlike synthetic nitrogen, it actually builds soil life instead of destroying it. Water-soluble calcium and calcium phosphate preparations strengthen cell walls, reduce disease pressure, and, well, dramatically improve fruit quality and shelf life. Each input has a purpose, timing, and balance. KNF isn't about dumping everything at once, it's really about rhythm. You know, many gardeners assume KNF is just another form of compost tea, but it isn't. Compost tea really depends on what's already in your compost. KNF, on the other hand, builds specific microbial communities with intention. KNF inputs are fermented, not brewed. That means they're stable, predictable, and reproducible. There's less guesswork and way more consistency, especially across different seasons. For experienced gardeners, this level of control is honestly a game changer. You stop reacting to plant problems and start anticipating them. When KNF solutions hit the soil, microbes wake up and multiply rapidly, fungal networks expand, bacteria mobilize nutrients, and root exudates increase. Plants respond by sending more sugars into the soil, which in turn feeds even more microbes. This positive feedback loop is what creates explosive soil recovery. Compacted soil loosens because microbial glue binds particles into aggregates. Nutrient deficiencies fade as locked minerals become available. Water infiltration improves because living soil breathes. This isn't theory, it's observable within a single growing season. One of the biggest misconceptions is that KNF is only for large-scale farming. In reality, it shines in home gardens. Raised beds respond incredibly well because microbial life is often limited there. Container plants benefit from reduced salt buildup and better nutrient cycling. Even indoor plants show stronger growth when KNF inputs are diluted properly. KNF also pairs beautifully with compost, mulch, and biochar. Think of compost as food, mulch as protection, and KNF as the living workforce that makes everything function. The most common mistake, honestly, is over-application. KNF is concentrated, and more is definitely not better. Gentle diluted applications actually produce stronger results than heavy feeding. Another mistake folks make is ignoring timing. Using vegetative inputs during flowering can cause, excessive leaf growth. On the flip side, reproductive inputs during early growth can really stall development. KNF works best when it's aligned with plant life stages. And finally, skipping observation just defeats the whole purpose. KNF teaches you to watch your plants closely and respond thoughtfully, not just follow rigid schedules. Unlike products that come and go, KNF knowledge actually compounds over time. Once you learn it, you're no longer dependent on fertilizers, brands, or fleeting trends. You can create fertility anywhere, honestly, from almost anything. That's why KNF fits perfectly with the soil power mindset. It's regenerative, adaptable, and, well, deeply empowering. It turns gardeners into soil stewards instead of soil consumers. If your goal is long-term soil health, resilient plants, and a deeper connection with your garden, KNF isn't optional, it's foundational. Beyond composting, there lies something even more powerful than just piles and patience. KNF teaches us that living soil doesn't need to be manufactured, it needs to be awakened. With local microbes, fermented inputs, and mindful application, you can revitalize soil faster than you ever thought possible. If this article helped you see soil differently, make sure to subscribe to the Soil Power YouTube channel for deeper dives, real-world demonstrations, and practical KNF techniques you can use immediately. Share this with a fellow gardener who's ready to move beyond compost and step into true soil power.